I'm going to step through the screens where I had to respond to things as I installed Windows on my virtual machine. So rather than making a video of it doing it live, which would take more time, I thought it'd be just as easy to show you what I clicked on each interactive screen as I went through the installation of Windows. The first interactive screen I came to was this one, and of course I chose English language, English time and currency, and US keyboard, and clicked Next. The next item I have here, I can either repair the computer or do an installation. Well, this is a clean install, so I want to do an installation, so I clicked Install Now. Over here, they would like me to put in my my activation code, but in this case I was using a trial version, so I don't want an activation code. I don't want to burn up a license just for my virtual machine that I'm going to throw away at the end of the quarter. So in this case I'm going to put on a trial, so I just said I don't have a product key and click Next. On this screen I decided to choose Windows 10 Pro 64-bit. Now I could have chosen Windows 10 Education 64-bit. Either one would have been fine for purposes of this class, and then I click Next. Here I have to accept the terms of the license agreement and click Next. On this page you have a couple of options here. If you click Upgrade, you're just going to get an error message that says you can't upgrade from here. And that's because in this case we booted to an ISO in our virtual machine, in VirtualBox, and in order to do an upgrade you would have to be in Windows already and then run the setup application. So this is kind of a trick question, but we want a custom install, which is what we always use when we want to do a clean installation of Windows 10. Down here we want to tell it where we want to put Windows 10, what disk drive, and you see I only have one disk drive here. It's 50 gigabytes. So this is not my host machine's drive. This is the virtual disk that I created just for this purpose inside a VirtualBox. So I chose that and clicked Next. What region? Well, United States. Keyboard, US keyboard. Do I want to add a second keyboard? No, I don't, so I skipped that one. Now, this one can throw people off. You have two options here. If you choose set up for personal use, it actually looks like you're going to use this one if you want to create or use a Microsoft online account. And in this one, it looks like, well, for an organization, but it doesn't really tell you what that means. So let me explain the options you actually have between the two. If you chose set up for an organization, you would be either signing on to a domain, and you don't have a domain in this case because you don't have a domain controller or server. So we are not joining a domain. You could also join an Azure Active Directory subscription service if this were a Windows subscription service. Well, we don't want that. What we want is personal use. But wait a minute, it says personal Microsoft account. Well, I actually don't want to use a Microsoft account. I want to use a local logon. Well, that's okay. If you set up personal use, you will have that option. It just isn't obvious from this screen. So set up for personal use and then click Next. Here is where they want you to sign into your Microsoft account or create a Microsoft account. Well, I didn't want to do either one of those. I want to be using an offline account, which I will set up on my own. So I chose offline account down here and chose Next. By the way, if you want to use a Microsoft account, that's okay. You can do that. Here is some begging on the part of Microsoft. Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, sign in with Microsoft instead. No, I don't think so. Who's going to use this PC? So now we're setting up a local user account, not a Microsoft account. And of course, down here they do some more begging. Even better, use an online account. This is the third time they've asked now. But no, I want to use a local account instead, so I'll put a name in of a local user in here and click Next. And by the way, this local user now will be a member of the administrators group. Any subsequent users would be a member of users group. Next, of course, they want a password, or better, use an online account. No, I'll give them a password. This is what, the 5th time now that they're begging me? No, I want to use a password, and click next. And then they want me to repeat my password, confirm it, and then they beg me again. But no, I will repeat my password and click next. Oh, they're even begging me some more. What is this, about 9 or 10 times now? This time they want me to give them 3 security question answers, so I can click this drop down and choose 3 items, and then for each item I will ask or answer whatever it is I selected, and click next. So this is the first one, and then we do it again for the second one. We do the same thing again for the third one. The drop down, answer the question, click next. Now we're getting to something we call telemetry data. They want to know if I want this thing to remember my history as I do stuff. Well, now typically on a hard machine I might do that, on a host machine, but on a virtual machine I probably do not want it to remember my history. This is simply a test machine that I'm going to use for learning purposes, and if I do have it remember my history, it's going to send that history to Microsoft. So I don't want that to happen in this case, so I will click no in this case. You can choose yes if you want. I'm going to choose no. Here's some more telemetry data. As you use Cortana, that is this little circle down here, talk to Cortana, then you want Cortana to remember things like your location history, contacts, voice input, speech and handwriting patterns, typing history, search history, calendar details, etc. No, I don't want Cortana to learn all that stuff from me, so I will decline it in the case of my virtual machine. Here's the big telemetry page. You're going to slide this slider up and down, and all of these are going to be yes by default. So I went through and I just clicked no, 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 turned all these off. In other words, do I want to send any of this information to Microsoft? No, I don't. Not in my virtual machine. If I wanted to on my host machine, that would be fine. But for purposes of this machine, I would say no, and then I would accept that. Finally, Windows comes up. You come to this kind of blank web page here. You can turn that off. You can click the X here. You could turn it off up here. I clicked the X here, and then in the next one I just turned this thing off here, and you can see it actually went online to the Edge browser. So I turned that off, and finally I was at my desktop. So very good. If you follow those clicks, then you'll be doing fine. If you want to make some changes based on your situation, that's fine too. But I wish you good success in getting this thing installed. Thank you very much for listening.